Hi friends! This is Dainty Tank. Thanks for joining me. Welcome back to Fatal 12, part 15. 1, 5. Poke Totoro in the upper right card area. See the rest of the series at this point. I hope that you've been seeing the rest of the series. It looks like you're just watching the playthrough. If so, hi! Thank you for watching! I'm so glad you're here! Hi. It's Pride Month. At least when I'm recording this, and it's also a heat wave, so you get to see me in my tanky toppies. So, fun! Muscle tees? Muscle tanky toppies. Dainty tanky toppies. But it's not dainty tank, like, I compete for that word in Google search. It's very funny. So, like, all of these, like, high-end fashion, like, a dainty tank, and I'm like, dainty tank! Anyways, besides me, how are you? I love you. Heart. Speaking of heart, Rinka has so much of it. She's really putting herself into a lot of these situations. Like, herself naturally goes out and sticks itself into these situations in which we get connected to each of these different contestants, and it's heart-wrenching. Ah! So, we've got information on Shigasugu's regret, and not his cause of death, but his name, because cause of death was figured out by Federico and Odette. However, we also got to see more of kind of the interaction between Shigasugu and our unnamed boy assassin in number 4. So they both had headaches, so I'm sure that like trauma is repressing their memories, which totally can happen, which is fascinating. I love that it's exploring this. So with that, let's just jump straight back in. Continue. No, load. Let's load. Click. I crash onto my bed as soon as I arrive. Ugh, jeez. Been a while since I last screamed into my pillow. Is that a scream for you? Miharu would be like, "Are you an idiot?" if she were there. Without thinking, I talked to myself out loud. Not only did I succeed in gathering information about Shigasugu, but I also met the boy staying with him. And I somehow agreed to cook that boy dinner. I didn't let myself be influenced this time, though. I agreed to do it on my own volition. Dangerous as it might be to get involved with other participants, there's something far more important to figure out. Do I have what it takes to eliminate them after getting this attached? I need to find my answer to that before I obtain all their cards. Time for a shower. Lucky for me, I've already gotten used to putting off the questions I can't answer yet. Okay. Do we get a shower scene too? We had a bath scene. Okay, cool. Like, jeez, don't need both here. I go to bed each night confident that I will wake up the next day. It's the one constant in my life, even with the advent of divine selection. Well, on days where an election isn't being held anyway. Drag myself from bed and get ready for school like always. My plans for the evening are already set, so I won't be opening the store today. Kept it closed so often lately that I'm starting to run out of excuses for my gran. Granted, she's never too persistent about me opening it up, because we either make hardly anything out of it, or we actually lose money. That plus, she seemed to realize that I'm all caught up in something else at the moment. Not to imply she knows about the fine selection, of course. She most likely thinks I'm busy with exams or personal issues. And my grades are hardly stellar, so it's not surprising that she's concerned. I noticed Naomi as I walked through the gate. She's with her friend, too. Save the data. If she's with friend, let's leave her be. I best off leaving her be. If she's got someone to spend time with other than me, it's for the better. The last thing I want is for her to get caught up in divine selection because of her involvement with me. Wah! Meanwhile, Naomi trips over nothing, as usual. Her friend catches her, fortunately, and she laughs it off. Naomi hasn't noticed me, so they make their way into the building together. That's cute! I decide to slow my pace to ensure I don't bump into her at the entrance. Good! Once I get back, I have a look at what seasonings I should take with me when I go to cook dinner. I doubt I'll be able to get everything I need with the money Shikasugu's given me, and buying some new stuff would be a waste because I'm only going there once. Guess curry works. Pretty sure I've got my grandson recipe laying around here too. Curry used to be Lion House staple before I took over. I've helped him make it a number of times, but I never made it from scratch. Should be fine so long as I follow the recipe though. Curry is pretty timeless too, so let's go with that. I packed some seasoning, spices, a pot, and a spare container before making my way to Shikasugu's house. Beef, potatoes, onions, carrots, apples, and yogurt are the main ingredients. Apples and yogurt are surprising in there. Like yogurt, I shouldn't be too surprised, but the apples I am. I head to his house after getting them. I don't know how beef and potatoes fits well with apples. Could be wrong. I'm on my way. I make sure to keep an eye out for Federico number 11. I didn't notice anyone suspicious. Yeah, Alan's probably been tracking you this whole time. But I think that's due to it being so busy at this time of night. I'm somewhat worried about more odd rumors spreading considering the neighbors' attitude toward this place, but I should be fine if it's just this once. Oh, I'm surprised. I'm pleased to see you actually turned up. Hey, it's the nice lady. Heard you're gonna make us dinner. Let me help. I wanna try cooking too. The nice lady, huh? That's one way to shatter the illusion of me being his mother. Carry the bags into the kitchen and then hand Shikasugu the receipt and his change. Let's leave peeling the potatoes and carrots to you then. Okay. Make sure to wash your hands first. I put my apron on before washing my own hands. He follows suit, so I hand the potatoes and carrots over to him. Meanwhile, Shikasugu watches TV in the living room. First up is beef preparation. I dice the meat into cubes and then sprinkle some with salt and pepper. Beef can be a bit chewy, so I cut some extra slits in them to help with that. After that, I grate an apple into a bag alongside yogurt, honey, and the spice mixture from my grand's recipe before combining everything. He looks up at me with a puzzled expression, potato in head. What do I do with this? It's not a potato, that's an onion. Oh right, guess I need to teach you from scratch. Don't see any peelers, so take the potato and show him how to peel it using a knife. Wow. It's nothing impressive. Here, give it a shot. Just be careful, I don't need you cutting yourself. The knife was surprisingly sharp. Not sure if that goes to show how little I cook or not. It's hard to believe I'm cooking with a knife that I sharpened myself. You sharpened these? I don't have any to ask why he'd need to sharpen a knife like that for anything other than cooking. Either way, he's able to peel the potato far better than me. Same with the carrots. I decided to leave all the vegetables to him. My eyes sting. Yeah, that'll happen when you cut onions. Just don't rub your eyes, that'll make it worse. Hey, you finally smiled. Huh? This is really cute. You were making a scary face before, but right now you look like you're having fun. I'm glad you're not our enemy. I suppose I did loosen up a bit. I started cooking. I mean, I've been checking every now and then to make sure Shikasugu isn't rummaging through my stuff. But it's true that I haven't been on the edge as I should be. I've always wanted to know how curry's made, so I'm looking forward to this. All I did was peel and cut potatoes, so now I'm even more curious about the rest. Guess we'll have to make it extra good then. Oh, this is cute, guys. Let another smile slip. Oh, I can't help it though. Seeing his eyes sparkle with curiosity is too precious. Another part of me wishes that we'd met under different circumstances. Oh. Yay! It's done! 2 hours later, it is finally ready. It's 8 p.m. The smell wafting out of the pot reminds me exactly of the curry my grandma would cook. Taste it, make sure it turned out fine, but I'm still nervous because other people are gonna eat it too. My, this look fantastic. Sorry for the wait. I'll take it. This will do. He's over the moon, so it's more than enough. Will you be staying to eat with us? Obviously. I wouldn't come all the way to cook and leave. Come on! Oops, sorry about that. Let's see how it tastes. I get started on mine after they dig in. It's not quite on Grand's level, but this is plenty delicious. Hasn't been too long since the last time I had an experience like this. Miharu, Sonya, and I ate together often before Sonya was eliminated. Funny how divine selection of all things is what blessed me with these experiences. Blessed, huh? I guess I need to accept that I have been enjoying myself. The sauce is rather strong, wouldn't you say? I refuse to field any complaints. This is so good. Your cooking's great. Oh, jeez, what a good kid. Hey, did you know? I cut these by myself. The carrots and potatoes? Well, you did a fantastic job with them. Yay! Are you more of a doting father or a doting grandfather? Whatever, I'm glad he likes it at least. Try not to insert myself into the conversation too much, opting to eat in silence instead. Certainly brings back memories. Curry was the first meal my son ever helped cook, if I recall. He also happy as he peeled and cut the vegetables. Nice is coming back to me now of all times. His eyes fixated on the curry as he recalls days long past. Small droplets of water catch on his eyelashes as they form. I'm not sure how or when it happened, but curry has become a go-to household meal in Japan. Just making it tonight brought back memories of time I spent with my gran. So it makes sense for him to be reminded of similar time he spent with his own family. A clang resounds throughout the room while I'm caught up in those thoughts. Turn my attention to where it's coming from. It's the boy who has just slapped his spoon down onto his plate. Is the past really that important? Neither of us answer his question. His gaze is focused on Shigasugu. While Shigasugu was recalling his past, the boy must have understood that he had no place in those memories despite his fondness for him. Even worse, he has no memories of his own to recall in the first place. I've forgotten lots of things from my past, but there's one thing I can say for sure. I've probably never had a single nice and happy experience like this before. Do you... oh no! All of a sudden, he clutches his head and groans in pain. Are you alright? Just like the first time we came face to face outside the dream world. I was struck with a headache as well that time, but now it's just him. Shigasugu gets him to lay down, an expression of fear in his face. Are you okay? Calm yourself. Not sure if he heard Shigasugu or not, but he does eventually close his eyes and pass out. I help take him back to his room. Oof. Once that's done, I finish my curry and wash the dishes. There is plenty left to spare, so I pack into a spare container I brought and put it in the fridge. All they need to do is heat it up in a pot. This isn't the first time that's happened. You mean the sudden headache? He nods silently before continuing. He suffers from headache whenever something triggers his memories. I'm not quite sure if it's conscious or subconscious thing, though. It's nothing to worry about. He sleeps for a few hours afterward and is perfectly fine once he wakes up. It's somewhat odd to be told not to worry about someone who's... Oh, it's plenty odd to not be told to worry about someone who's supposed to be your enemy. But even more odd is the fact that I really am worried. I should have anticipated this, but seeing him so happy made me forget all about him. Please accept my apologies. It's okay. He really did seem to enjoy the experience, though. I'm aware. I can tell he cares a lot about you, too. I might have seen him more as a little brother if it weren't for divine selection. So you say, but if it weren't for that, we never would have met in the first place. Ho, regardless, allow me to thank you once again. Just seeing him beside himself like that made me happy as well. Sure. Feel my eyes strain throughout this exchange. I really shouldn't be thanked by this is my supposed enemy. The reality of what's going on here is all too clear, though. Yet again, I'm struggling to come to terms with what I need to do in the face of this small happiness felt while spending time with them. This seems an ideal time to make good on our promise from yesterday. Yeah, it'd be for the best. Won't be involved with them anymore. That's the ideal outcome. Keep the container with the leftovers. I actually enjoyed this a bit more than expected, so don't feel bad about dragging me into it. Ho, worry not. I never felt bad in the first place. Before you go, allow me to tell you my cause of death. He switches to a far more grim topic before he even bothers to sit down. I honestly wouldn't have cared if he'd forgotten about this part of the promise. I still don't know if I have it in me to elect him after learning it. Chances are high that I won't be able to, since I've gotten this attached to them both. So I'd rather not know at all than face the regret and self-loathing over knowing, yet being able to elect them. But at the same time, I can't refuse to listen now that he's brought it up. You're aware of the cases where people are discovered dead in their homes, I assume? I've seen reports of it in the news every now and then. I am one such case. Elderly people living on their own is already a problem in its own right. The risk of them passing away without anyone noticing gets higher if they have no relatives or friends in the neighborhood to check up on them. I expected this to be the case for him after hearing how rumors were spread about him having starved to death and whatnot. My lower back isn't in peak condition, you see, prone to a sudden onset of pain, sometimes to the point where I'm unable to move at all. That's why I made a point to buy as much canned food and ready-made meals as possible. Last thing I wanted was one of those episodes to happen while cooking, leading to a fire. That may have just been a excuse for me to be lazy, but let's set that aside for now. The worst episode ever struck me during a rainy day. So bad, couldn't even crawl. The rest goes without saying, no one can survive without proper sustenance, so it's a matter of days before I starve to death. You were in there for days. You don't want to elect him. You'll feel that. My memory is rather fuzzy about the first day, so I can't give you an accurate date as to when I died. Passing away and all alone in my home is quite the pathetic way to go, isn't it? Maybe fitting for me, though, after I caused my own family to abandon me. That's not true. No need for sympathy. I'm sure you've realized how cynical I am by now. I do feel like I've changed somewhat ever since meeting him. Perhaps it's more accurate to say I was able to go back into how I was during the days when I still got along with my family. Someone hard to believe that there was a time we all got along like that. I wish I could have seen him at least once before I died. Ho, my apologies. Looks like it's become the stereotypical talkative old man. Trust me when I say that this hasn't been an attempt to make it harder for you to eliminate me. He's spoken his regret loud and clear. A regret so simple that everyone can understand it. If there's one thing I know for sure at this point, it's that I won't be able to elect him without hesitation. I'll be taking my leave now. It has gotten rather late. Do take care. Thank you. I don't have much to say regarding his cause of death. There's no doubt that my facial expression, as he told me, was enough to get across how I felt, though. God, that knock. Ugh. For a second, I thought there was a knock at my door, and I'm like, what the heck is happening here? As I approach the entrance, knock echoes down the hall. Someone's at the door. Great, people don't normally come at by this hour. Hope he isn't a debt collector. Stumbles backward and falls back on his rear after looking through the peephole. Not sure what he's seeing, but the knocking grows even more fierce. He hurries back to his feet and reaches for a door once he recalls he has not locked it. I'm shocked his back hasn't given out, but it seems he's faring much better in that regard due to the divine selection, much like how Sonya's illness had subsided. Now it's obvious what's going on. Has to be those other two. I try to get to the door, but Shigasugu stops me. Not like we've mattered before. Either way, since the door has already been opened. They probably noticed it was unlocked before Shigasugu. How dare you barge in like this? Alan! Oh, I figured it was Alan. Shut up. Turns out to be none other than numero 12, Alan Scorpion. He grabs Shigasugu by the collar before closing the door behind him. Their sheer differences in height would cause Shigasugu to get lifted right into the air by his shirt. Part of me wishes numero 4 was down here with us. There's no opportunity to call for him though. Not to mention that it'd probably be for nothing if all the noise so far hadn't woken him up. Why are you here? I could ask you the same question. Well, no matter. He returns his attention to Shigasugu. I will deal with you first. Let him go. You can't just burst into someone's home and do this to them. I see you're meddling with others again. What do you care? I can't lie. Not right now. I'm terrified. Those frigid eyes alone are enough to instill fear in most people. Bad in his build and lack of hesitation to use force like this. I can't run away though. I won't abandon Shigasugu. If you ask me why, well, I'm not quite sure. Besides, there's not much you can do if I scream for help. Unless I stop you from doing so. Wait! Listen to what I have to say. Keep your mouth shut until I give you permission to speak. You, man. I know. Your regret. What? Hear me out. Although hesitant, he eventually releases Shigasugu. And Shigasugu lands on his backside again. Fortunately, it didn't seem to have hurt all that much. You seem awfully desperate, don't you? Spare me the attitude. Tell me what you know. You're aware that numerals 3 and 11 came here before, aren't you? What of it? Worry not. I happen to have quite the reliable bodyguard, so they were unable to learn my own regret. All they have are my name and cause of death. That's what I need, then. The only information I have on you is your name, so hurry up and tell me the other two. Takes a threatening step towards Shigasugu. The height difference between them is staggering. How intimidating to have someone of stature looking down at you from so close. Hang on, you may want to reconsider since I've already gotten my hands on all of his information. Nice. I'm sure you don't need me to explain the risk involved when two people elect the same person. My name is no secret to you, though. The same likely goes for numerals 3 and 11. As much as I appreciate the value of one's name, I take no issue in exposing it for the sake of earning the right to elect him. That's funny. You happen to know my name as well. What makes you think I'd have an issue with you exposing it in return? Those eyes. They stir feelings within me that I would rather forget. Ew. Alan's creepy. Huh? can't risk having to reveal 2 of my own cards, but having my regret exposed to you here would also put me in a difficult position. Perhaps brute force won't get me through this situation. I can hardly believe that I was able to talk him down. Maybe it's thanks to what he pulled at the hospital with Kikyo. There's no way the police won't have eyes on him after that. It makes sense if he's trying to tread carefully. I'll cut to the chase. Numerals 3 and 11 are my main concerns, yet they've made no moves after yesterday morning. What happened? Figure that's what you were after. As I said, I happen to have a skilled bodyguard. The only proofs to hint that my own regret sleeps within this place. I'm not sure how he managed to figure that out based on what Shukasugu said. I mean, wouldn't you have, like, reminders of your regret in your home no matter what? Like, it's not that far a reach, right? Which means I need to really watch what I say from here on out. I might have convinced him for now, but there's no guarantee things will keep going smoothly. Care to tell me who this so-called bodyguard is? Can't see it being the child you've taken in, to say the least. I doubt you have the money to hire a professional either. It's numero 9 complicit. He's the only one yet to show himself. Who knows? Then again, you were unsure about who I was. That means you likely haven't encountered numeral 9. Oh. Who in the world are you? Does that mean Alan has a connection to numeral 9? That's irrelevant. I have to admit, I'm surprised that the little girl like her could fend those 2 off. Start to fret over just how much he can glean from the tiniest bit of information. Still, his statement proves that even he makes mistakes. Hearing him assume the wrong gender, just as I did, serves as a bit of a relief. Ho ho, apparently numeral 3 got beat up good. So good that he won't be moving for some time. Numeral 11 seems to be in cahoots with him. No, numeral 11 seems to be in cahoots with him, so I doubt she'll go off on her own in the meantime. Sorry, old man, I don't exactly like to be the predictable type. Huh? Oh my god. Immediately after hearing that voice, I feel my body get sent flying toward the wall. Lucky for me, it is the wall where one of Shukasugu's coats is hanging, so it cushions the impact for me. The culprit, numeral 11. She made her way in. Kicked me aside straight away. You got kicked by Odette? Step on me, giant lady. Do it. Yeah. It's time to party. Odette! Get it? It's that scorpion time. Were you here the whole time? I just got here. Her sights are locked on Alan. Surely he holds the upper hand based on physical build alone. Are you sure? Look at her abs! Jeez! I think she could beat you 10 times over. Doesn't stop her from kicking at him like a bucking bronco in the narrow hallway, though. I should call for help. I should, but I can't bring myself to move. I'm not like Alan. The fear I have toward her in the dream world pales in comparison to how I feel now. This is someone who takes pleasure in harming others. It's entirely possible that she'll target me if I even make the slightest move or raise my voice. That terrifies me. I don't even have it in me to try and negotiate with her. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Change. Oof. Odette? Guess those muscles aren't just for show. Alan is no slouch either. It's not quite sure how to describe his fighting style. He keeps finding opportunity to strike back after dodging and parrying. No goodness! Ah! I can tell how powerful each of her blows are based on the loud smacks heard with Alan blocks each one. Neither is able to score direct hit on the other. And this long, narrow hallway doesn't allow them to move sideways. They pressure one another without moving from their initial positions. I'm here to get the scoop on that geezer's regret. As am I. Oh, then let's hug it out. Work together. Oh my god! Why? What? What is this? What is this? Is this just like the muscled Fatal 12? Like, do you just... Yeah? Is that how you do it? Is that how that works? I refuse. Too bad. He might have some real dirt on you then. Excuse me. Letting your guard down now, even for a split second, could prove evil. Even I know that much. But Alan seems to have done just that. She wastes no time in delivering a swift kick to his cut, causing him to back away. This might sound weird, but I'm rooting for him this time. I need him to win, for my own sake. Neither are my ally, but Alan was at least willing to talk. This makes him a safer bet than that woman. And as much as it pains me, I am praying that number 4 will come down to save us. That's how powerless I am in this situation. Alan takes another step back to create more distance between them, which effectively corners him. You ain't the kind of guy to talk things out under normal circumstances. That's the impression I get anyway. From what I can tell, the chick over there probably has all the information she needs to eliminate the geezer. Sound about right? So now you run the risk of electing him at the same time as her, even if you manage to get what you came for. I guess that you were in the process of figuring out how to deal with your little pickle. You seem like the type to reach conclusions through situational evidence. That also tells me you haven't been able to gather any information since you and your partner was shooed away by that little girl. Perhaps I overestimated you. Alan takes the opportunity to deliver a counterattack. Was that a slap? It's a solid hook against her shoulder, which causes her to retreat back to her initial position. Ah, man. You sure you don't want to buddy up with me? I only put myself at risk having to compete with you for the right to elect him, so no. As much as I dislike anyone thinking I'd go out of my way to help these people, having you retreat is my best option now. She grins from ear to ear. Then I notice that Shikasuku has managed to slink off during all this. Just as I start to wonder where he snuck off to, footsteps from the stairway give me my answer. Don't go down there. Don't go down there, you should hide. No way, I can't hide when you're in danger. Footsteps belong to number 4. He comes running down the stairs. He's likely just woke up, but he doesn't seem tired at all. Different people than before. You know how to fight, yes. Assist me. So, she's the baddie, and he's the buddy? Is that right? Shikasuku reveals himself just long enough to nod in affirmation. 2 against 1, huh? Now we're talking. Oh my goodness! Battle! Oh, that shows no fear. Just as her words imply, the prospect of this fight has her thrilled. But just before they can start, the blaring of police sirens pierce the walls of the house. They are getting louder, closer. Shh. Guess gotta bounce. Till next time, Alan Scorpion. Or Master CEO if you prefer. So she was aware. She burst out of the house immediately after, uninterested in hearing any replies. Sirens continue for a while afterwards, so I assume she manages to get away. I'm relieved that one problem has resolved itself, but I have to at least admire her ability to react and make snap judgments like she did. A neighbor must have called the police. No, that was me. I texted a friend to call them. Really? You should explain things to them. I couldn't bring myself to speak up, let alone move. Numeral 9 was wary of me the whole entire time, but her line of sight was focused on Alan. Numeral 9? Was it number 11 that they're trying to go there? Give me enough of a window to message Miharu. I gave her this address and asked her to call the police. It was a gamble, not knowing if she'd actually check her phone, but the cards were in my favor this time. Why are the police here? Shikasuku hasn't done anything wrong. Don't worry, sometimes they visit people even if they haven't been bad. We should hide some things so things don't get complicated, though. Agreed. We pile into Shikasuku's room just as police park in front of the house. Three of us just sit in silence. There's something surreal about me, numero 4, and Alan all hiding in a room together like this. The fact that Alan has agreed to it proves that I'm right. He's avoiding the police. I figured he was a monster before, but his fight with numero 11 made it all the more clear. His skills have nothing to do with him being a man or his massive build. I'm willing to bet that he could take on an armed officer and win, but even he doesn't want to turn the entire police force against him. Phew, things sorted themselves out somehow. Shikasuku comes along to rescue us from this suffocating silence. I'll be taking my leave then. Oh, and here I was, about to heat up some curry. Don't you want some? Yeah, I've been hungry ever since I got up. Are you serious? Sure, he's a bit rough with me, but hey, he did help us out in the end. I'm sure you won't mind if he gets taste of your curry. A bit rough? Never mind. Never you mind. Here, take this. He moves the leftovers from the fridge and pours it into a pot before Alan even gets a chance to answer. Cumin, cardamom, turmeric. Not bad. I will accept. What? He takes a seat at the table, as expressionless as ever. As much as I want to flee right now, I'm a bit too concerned now. So, numeral 12 isn't a baddie? Not for now. Really? But you're a participant too, aren't you? Indeed. So why do you protect Shikasuku? I didn't. Our interests just happened to align. Interests? Indeed. I don't know what that means, but I don't care so long as you're not a baddie. What matters is that you're gonna love this curry. It's awesome. I see. And start to panic as I listen to the painful exchange. The lack of emotion on Alan's face makes it impossible to tell when he'll explode over numero 4 acting overly friendly. What possessed the old man to take in such a runt? A runt? I am referring to you. He found me on the street and decided to take me in because I have an amnesia or something. I see. Your body must remember how to carry itself if you were able to fend off numeral 3 in such a condition. I don't think you should have said that. I'm surprised by how readily he divulges such critical info. Alan may not be his enemy for now, but there's no need to go and tell him everything. Sir, just use Aaron. I wasn't sure how to address him, but when he wasted no time in providing a fake name, he must be aware that I know his true name. I consider doing the same, but I'll leave it alone, unless he asks. What are you planning to do next, Aaron? I think we should leave that discussion for after we eat. Shikasuku butts in as he brings the curry over. He only carries 2 plates, since neither him nor me will be having any. Alan nods in response to that proposition. When I think about it, Alan's from India. Knowing that someone from the land of curry is about to eat my rendition of it makes me a touch nervous. It's so good! My gut sinks the moment he takes a bite. There's a huge contrast between the slow and disinterested way he eats in comparison to how numero 4 wolfs his down. Wait, why am I nervous at all? I never expected similarities to go this far. As he said something, my eyes meet his. My family once bought some curry roux from Japan out of curiosity. Your family? Like your wife? He glares at me in response. Is that how you fish for information? Maybe? I honestly didn't mean anything by it, though. I see. Well, it's public knowledge that I'm not married. When I said family, I referred to a relative. Thanks for the food! Tension is dissipated thanks to the outburst. So glad he has no idea how to read between the lines. Never expected Alan to talk about family, though. That's pretty normal for most people, but somehow thought he was the one of those rare sorts who had no attachment to him. Aside, I'll assume he didn't think the curry tasted bad since he didn't say anything about it. Is it so odd for me to use a spoon? No, of course not. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Think about it. I guess I always do imagine people from India eating curry without utensils. I guess they do that when eating it with naan. But since he's eating Japanese curry, I didn't think about it until he brought it up. That look on his face as he asked, though. It's so meek. I can't help bursting out in laughter. I see. Japan has a rather narrow-minded view of my home country. That's not what I'm laughing at. He seems a little peeved, judging by the tone of his voice. My nerves, coupled with the fact that he seems impossible to read, make it all the harder to hold back my laughter. He eventually brushes me off. He hands numero 4 his plate and spoon to be taken to the sink. Well, that happened. Not long after, Shikasugu makes tea for all 4 of us. Alan takes a whiff of tea before switching his cup with Shikasugu's before taking a sip. His face contorts immediately. I can't tell if it's the issue with Shikasugu's so-called blend or Japanese tea in general, but he's more expressive than I expect. Meanwhile, numero 4 is rolling his head around on the table out of boredom until Alan breaks the silence. Shikasugu, I know your name's somewhat difficult to pronounce, but regardless, it goes without saying that I'm here for, doesn't it? You have your eyes on my information, correct? Indeed. My intent is to eliminate all of you here, but I'm willing to settle for less at the moment. Well, color me surprised. Here I was expecting you to threaten us all into giving you what you wanted. The child mentioned having amnesia. Should that hold true, I see nothing coming from doing so. That applies to you too. I have no evidence, but my gut is telling me that you have no recollection of your own cards either. I'd only be putting myself at a disadvantage by being rash. Amazing how he could say that after what he pulled with Kikyo. And he thinks numero 4 is a girl. It proves that even he makes mistakes. Shikasugu said that Alan's actions seem desperate. I feel like that applies even more with what he did to Kikyo. However, I'm surprised that not knowing the context of my own cards could help out for me like this. As for Alan's comment, numero 4 is the first to respond. Hang on a moment, this means you want to eliminate Shikasugu. I won't let that happen. You're a baddie from here on. Calm down. Pray tell, what do you plan on doing should I refuse to cooperate? You likely know the answer. I have no intention of leaving empty-handed. I knew it! Let me at him! No, I don't want to see you too hurt anymore. Besides, you would go after her first, wouldn't you, Aaron? I don't doubt that. I'm ready to make my escape whenever necessary, but I doubt I could even reach the hall safely should Alan target me for real. I can negotiate with him thanks to the info I have on Shikasugu, but right now, I'd have rather maintained the status quo. I'm fine with revealing my information to you, but only on one condition. What would that be? I want you to serve as our bodyguard until my elimination. Your job will be to keep this house safe, especially from numeral 11. In simpler terms, I ask you to protect both myself and this child. Let's assume I agree to these terms. How do you plan on dealing with the other issue? He casts his gaze over to me. Fine, I'll refrain from electing him if you agree to go along with us. Why even bother? Shikasugu doesn't need anyone but me to protect him. like it's visibly flustered. But it's Alan who helps to respond. Are you that delusional? What's that supposed to mean? Shugasugu proposes this to avoid putting you in harm's way. It's for me? I'm not the only one who caught that, huh? You wouldn't happen to have family you're close to, would you? Will not qualify that with a response. Is he right, Shugasugu? Of course he is. Strong as you may be, doesn't make you any less distressing to see you get hurt. But if I beat him up, then... Don't overestimate yourself. You may be a child, but I would hold nothing back if I fought you. The chances of something happening to you are just too high. It's clear that Shugasugu sees him as family. There's direct parallel to what he's saying now and Kiki's actions when Alan took her son hostage. Alan's face is as expressionless as ever, so I can't tell if he's created the situation on purpose or if it's mere coincidence. Shugasugu, I figured you'd be happy if I took down all the baddies for you. But if you really want to protect me, then why don't you take all of their cards? For the same reason I don't want you fighting others. It's not as simple as you think. Save this argument for later. I'm willing to accept your first condition, but only if you provide a room for me to stay in. Clarifies his reasoning after seeing Shugasugu's response. I haven't the luxury of doing as I please, so being provided with somewhere to stay for a few days in exchange isn't a bad deal. Very well. Of course, I'll need you to accept my second condition as well. I'm aware. Whatever. Number 4 stands up mid-conversation, almost in a deliberate attempt to interrupt them. I don't care anymore! Hey! He leaves the room immediately. Well, this is a good place to stop. So, there's a lot going on, and oh my god, Alan. What the heck? Oh, so many feelings, so many things. I hope you're enjoying it. With that, I'm gonna leave it here. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye!